Hi. So I just wanted to showcase this game, or kind of go through the beginning part of this game, or like a tutorial. I just wanted to show it. This is purely for my entertainment because I just like it a lot, and I just wanted to show you. You don't have to watch this if you don't want to, but I just wanted to share it. Think of it as it's like my asynchronous way of showing you the game. Obviously, I would love to like sit down with you and show you, but obviously that can't happen. So this game, if you're unfamiliar, I'm sure I've talked about this a lot, but the Total War franchise, these are games that play very much like Civilization, in that it's a turn-based game. You manage your cities, and you build buildings, and you move people around, and you research technology, and you do trade with people. However, the difference is that once you fight a battle with someone, you fight it in real time, and that's why I love these types of games so much. When I was a kid, I played Warcraft 2, and it always bugged me that I can only have like 9 guys fight like 9 other guys, and it just felt very anticlimactic. But these games are all about big armies, and you can have thousands of people on a battlefield duking it out, and I think that's what makes this game so epic. Now, normally these types of games are historical. For example, there's a Rome game. It takes place in the Roman era in Europe and the Mediterranean area, or there's games that take place in Japan, or games in England, and so on and so forth. This, however, is based off of the Warhammer universe, and I didn't know anything about the Warhammer universe before playing these games. Really, all you need to know is that the Warhammer universe is just like any other fantastical universe, in that there's humans, and there's orcs, and there's elves, and there's undead people, and there's dwarves, and there's magic. So, and that's it. Obviously, if you're a Warhammer guru, that's not just it, but from a layman's perspective, that's pretty much it. So yeah, this is the second game. The reason why I'm doing the second game is the most recent, and also because if you own the first 2 games, the Warhammer 1 is embedded within Warhammer 2, and Warhammer 2 is a slightly more improved version, I believe, in terms of quality of life features and things like this, and the UI and all that. So we're just going to start with campaign. We're going to go to a new campaign. We have the option to select this Eye of the Vortex campaign. This is the main campaign of the second game that only features the second game map and races and all that. The combined Warhammer 1 and 2 is this Mortal Empires campaign, and that's what we're going to do.
I fight
Continue.
for the greater good.
Now up here at the very top, these are all the different people we can play as. So over here, these are the High Elves. They remind me very much of like Lord of the Rings elves, very high and mighty, hoity-toity type. We have these like lizard people. We have dark elves. We have these, they're called Skaven. They're just like a rat people. They play really uniquely. I think they're really cool. I've not played as them yet, but I just think they're so cool. We have
Empire's blessings, yes.
the Empire, which is just a human race. This is probably the most familiar race to play as, just because they're familiar. They're humans, and the type of armies they wield are very familiar to people who live on Earth. Then there's dwarves. You've got orcs, or in this game they call them greenskins. You have the undead, or the vampire counts. That's what they're really called. And then you have
I am the blood of
Bretonia, Now, now, if you notice, if you're familiar with the French language, so Warhammer, the Warhammer universe, I've recently learned this, or I picked up on this, and I think it's actually kind of cool. But if you look here, this is the map of the world, or at least in this game, this is the map of the world. And the Warhammer universe is roughly based off of Earth and its geography. So, for example, right here, this is Europe, and down here is North Africa, and that's South America, and that's North America, and so on and so forth. And the factions that you play kind of resemble this real world civilization. So, for example, this is Louan Lioncoeur. He resembles the French, and he has a lot of French and English influences in his faction. People like the Empire.
In the name of Magnus.
He's over here where Germany might be, and the Empire is roughly based off of the Holy Roman Empire. The Lizard people, they are in. They're kind of down here in South America, Central America. They would resemble the Aztecs. So I just think that stuff is kind of cool. Anyway, so we're gonna play
Summon
as
the Elector Counts.
The Empire, just because they're the most familiar. So you can see here, this is our starting area, is this little region right here within the Reichland, and you can see on the world map, this is the area in which we're starting at. Listed here are our race attributes. This is just a summary of how we would play as, kind of a summary of our race mechanics. I won't get too much into all this. I don't want to bore you with all of that. And then our initial challenge is easy. And there are various, if we were to select other people, that would, I think, what's hard? Like this guy. His initial challenge is hard. So we're just going to do initial challenge of easy. This is our faction leader. He is Emperor Call France. These are our faction effects. These are our little bonuses that we get, which is nice and handy. And then these are our Lord effects, or Lord is just another term for general, or like our faction leader. So we get this little, within the Lord's army, then his army, we get this leadership bonus, which is a morale bonus of +8, which is great. Listed here, these are additional starting units. So at the beginning of the game, we're going to start with a little army, and embedded within that army, we get these 3 additional units, which are units that we cannot recruit right away. They're kind of more advanced type of units. And so we have halberdiers, we have handgunners, which just shoot things, and we have Reichsguard, which is just our cavalry. Halberdiers are just like people who hold big giant spears. And then we can set our difficulty. We can actually separate it based off of the campaign difficulty and the actual battle difficulty, which we will leave at normal. I don't play on hard or very hard or anything like that, just because I'm not that great. And okay, so I've bored you enough. Let's just start. Ah yes, what a lovely image. This guy seems to be having a wonderful day. I think he's having a great day. And yeah, we're just loading up. And once this loads up, then we'll get a little overview of our beginning area. There's a little flyby of the region that kind of gives us context, which you will see in just a minute.
The greenskin threat is extinguished, sire. Yet the fight to secure your rule has only just begun. The Empire is beset by civil war once more. Secessionists hostile to your election as Emperor are trying to form a breakaway province to the south. Advance, crush them, and bring the lands back to your sovereign rule. To the north, Boris Todbringer of Middenheim, a bitter rival in the recent election, is openly hostile. A clash with Todbringer and the wolves of Middenland may well be unavoidable if you wish to unify the Empire. Plan for this eventuality. The Empire has ever been besieged by foes, but you are a Prince of Altdorf. Greatness runs in your very blood. Make the Heldenhammer proud.
Okay. Make the Heldenhammer proud. Alright. So this is just a quick summary of how we play as... I won't go over this. I'll explain it if it comes up, but... Alright, we'll get rid of that. And this is just a... So what's great about this game is that it kind of gives you a direction to start in, and so this is all optional. Anything you do in this game is purely optional. There is like a win condition, but obviously, I mean, this is your game. Do whatever you want. So right here, this is mission issued. So defeat an army belonging to the following faction in a battle: the Empire Secessionists. And there's a reward for 1,000 gold in our treasury, and we get 300 prestige, which I can talk about later. So again, the game will start you with like a direction to go in, as a way of saying, hey, we think that if you do this, this will help you better understand how the game works, or this is kind of like, we believe this will be the best way to move forward. And that's what this is indicating. So yay, thank you. All right. So already we see that, you'll notice right here, this is our starting city of Altdorf. This is our capital. And next to the city is our standing army. This is the one army that we have so far. And leading the army is our faction leader, and he's indicated right here. If we click on him,
Bring me to my men.
We can see there's Emperor Karl Franz, who's indicated right here. And then these are the units in his army. And you can see these are the additional starting units that was listed in the beginning. Here are the halberdiers, here are the handgunners, and here are the cavalry, the Reichsguard. The rest of them that we have swordsmen, we have spearmen, and we have crossbowmen. Listed here is the upkeep of the army. So this is how much money I'm spending per turn to keep this army paid for. Now, as you see, as I've selected this army, you can see this yellow border. This indicates the distance, the limit to which Karl Franz and his army can move this turn. All this. So that just is a good indicator to show me where he can move to. Now the region I control, so this Altdorf is the capital city within my region. You'll see this border right here, this yellow and red border. Really, it's the yellow border that indicates this is the land that I own currently. It's through these trees and up along this coast right here, and a little bit here, I guess. The red indicates I'm at war with the people across this border. And over here you'll notice, hey, here is an enemy army indicated by this red cross of swords. And look, right here it says Empire Secessionists. So these are people who I'm currently at war with. That mission that was issued told me that if I defeat an army in battle, then I get that reward. So basically the game is pretty much telling me, hey, why don't you come here and come move in this direction, and potentially, get this, take out this guy, capture this city so you can get this new region. So that's what we're going to do.
By the comet.
We're going to take him, and we're just going to right click on him, and he will walk over and initiate a battle.
Ulrich's will.
All right. So now this is the kind of the pre-battle synopsis. So here you have the army on the left. My army is on the left. His army is on the right. You can see in the middle here, this is the balance of power right here. So this tells me, this is basically the game's way of telling me how the computer thinks I will do in the battle, based off of the army composition of both sides. So in yellow is my balance of power, and the red is the enemy's balance of power. So now I have three options here at the bottom. I can manually fight the battle, which is what I'm going to end up doing. I can auto-resolve the battle, so the computer will just automatically compute a winner, and it will dish out casualties on both sides. It will be based upon this bar here. So I only ever use this bar, or use this button, if the balance of power is extremely in my favor. Then I'll just do it because I don't want to take the time to fight a battle that I know I'm gonna easily win. But I don't know, sometimes I do it anyway because it's fun. Or I'll do it if the balance of power is extremely in the enemy's favor, and I know that there is no possible way I could win. Like if they have like a giant army and I have like two guys, then I'll just auto-resolve it because there's no point in fighting the battle. The third option is this retreat button. So if I didn't want to fight this battle, if I saw, oh, his army is a lot better than I thought it would be, then I have the option to retreat and not engage. A cool feature is you can click this button here. This will show you the battle map, so it's a great way to say, hey, like I can kind of plan it. This is a pretty normal generic map. Maybe there's like a couple little knolls or hills, but anything in yellow, this is where I will start, and in red, this is where he will start. That's just a nice way to see, like, all right, what am I up against? Is there anything crazy in the terrain that I can use to my advantage, or things like that? And then there's this quick save button. So I can click that, and that'll basically just save the game for me right here. In case anything goes wrong in the battle, I can just kind of reload from this point. Okay, let's just dive right in. So here is the loading screen. Again, my army's on the left, his is on the right. This is the battle map. And some tool tips to look at, to read as you wait. Alright, so this is the battle map. The battle has not started yet. This is the first phase of the battle is I get to deploy my troops in a formation of my choosing. So right here are my handgunners and my crossbowmen.
Soldiers of the Empire.
I'm going to put them here for now. But I want my my melee fighters in the front. I'm just gonna select them like this, or I can select them like this. Hold down Shift, select them like that, or Control. And I'm gonna right click and drag to form a line, like so. And then I'm gonna have my general or my lord. I want to stand him out kind of in the front too, because he's a heavy fighter guy. He also has, you'll notice if I hover over him, he has this blue, there's that blue circle that kind of encircles the screen there. That indicates anybody who stands within this circle gets a morale boost. So it's like his aura or his like sphere of influence. I'm gonna have my cav. I'm gonna have you come on this side. Now the reason why I do that is because I see over here he has swordsmen on this side and he has spearmen on this side, and cavalry do not do well with spearmen. Something that a general rule of thumb about fighting battles. There's there's 5 basic types of units. You have people who hold swords,
Heldenhammer!
people or axes, like just your basic melee infantry. People who hold spears,
For Heldenhammer!
people who shoot things,
Missile infantry!
and people who sit on horses.
Reichsguard knights!
And then the 5th type are like artillery, so like catapults and cannons and things like that, which I don't have currently. So those are the basic types of units. There are variations of each of these types of units, like more advanced or more specialized, but that's basically it. So the general rule of thumb is swords
Swordsman!
beat spears generally in a head-to-head. Spears will beat horses. Horses can beat swords and missile units, right, archer units. And archer units can beat. They can shoot pretty much anybody. Generally, there are a few exceptions, but that's basically it. And so there's kind of like a rock paper scissors thing going on. All right, so I'm gonna have my cav on this side so that he won't. The spearman will be on this side, so he'll avoid that. And then I'm gonna have my missiles right behind the front line, so they can shoot over the guys, over my front line. And that's it. So if I select my general, I note that he has this ability here. If I were to click on it for 39 seconds, anybody within this circle gets a boost in leadership, which is just morale. Total War games normally have a morale mechanic, but in this game they call it leadership. It's the same thing. And they also get a plus 24 in melee attacks, so they're just better attackers, which is basically everybody gets a boost in attacking. So I'll probably ignite that once we get into battle. And that's it. So we're gonna start. So you'll notice on the top here that there's a time limit. Depending on who's attacking who, because I'm attacking them, I will lose the battle if I can't defeat them in time. Now this time limit is for an hour. Excuse me. It's for an hour. That's a lot of time. So I'm not gonna run over this time limit. And then you can see here's the balance of power. And this will move as the battle goes on. This will fluctuate depending on who's winning and who's losing. And then you can even see the number of troops per, his troops and my troops. All right, so we're gonna start. And we see already that he is gonna approach me. Now, if I hold down spacebar, I get kind of a status of the battlefield. So you can see here. Let me pause it so you can see. If I hold down spacebar, you can see the icons of the units. You can see this green triangle indicates the threat level. So if I were to select my swordsman, I can see that, hey, these guys are not a threat to me, but this guy in red, which is his general, is a high threat. You see their health. You see that gray bar is their morale. The brown bar is the number of missiles, their ammunition. So archers can run out of arrows, and gunners can run out of bullets. So you gotta make sure, if you do run out, just be aware of that. And you can see that these green little legs indicates that they are fresh. So as the battle moves on, units get tired over time, and the more tired they are, the less efficient they are. If they're running up a hill, if they're running versus walking, running tires them out more. If they're running up a hill, that tires them even more and gives them a disadvantage in fighting. So yeah, and then the other thing, you could see the arc of fire. So if I select my handgunners, you can see this yellow arc. This indicates the range at which they can fire the missile. So once these guys move into his arc of fire, then they will start shooting. Yeah, so we're just going to press play, and they're just going to walk right to us. And if they were to be stationary, then I would have just approached them, but I'm just going to let them walk over to me. And if I wanted to, there's this button down here, there's toggle fire at will, so they will automatically start firing when they're in range, but if I wanted to, I could take that off so I can be more, I can micromanage who they're attacking and when they attack and all that. Alright, so they're going to attack me, which is fine, I can take it, and now they're going to start attacking them. And I do not want you attacking, I want you to attack these guys, and you attack those guys. And I'm going to group you guys together so that you can attack simultaneously. I want you guys to come run up, see if you can't hit them from the back or get these archers that he's already going to break off, so we'll see how that turns out.
Ranged weapons ready.
These guys need to come this way because they're handgunners. They don't have an arc of fire.
We are Sigma's heirs.
Get that going. Come on, get out. Come on. Alright, so these guys are firing here, which is fine. The reason why I have to move these guys around, I forgot. Because these are handgunners, they can't shoot over people. They get obstructed, so I'm going to come here on the side, and I'm going to shoot them from the side like this. There we go. That's nice. Alright, so they're engaging there, and they're definitely losing a lot. And once they get these guys, I'm going to take my cavalry and hit them from the back. Now, cavalry can attack spears only from behind or the sides. So, depending on how units face, it makes a big deal. Alright, so these guys are broken, so they're running away. So I'm going to take these guys, and I'm going to get these guys from behind. And these guys are running away as well. When they're white like this, when the flags are white, it means they're routing or they're running away. They're going to run off the battlefield. And when they're flashing like this, it means they're about to start running. They're losing morale. And once I hit them like this, that will completely demoralize them, and they're going to start running away. And actually, I want you guys to fire on. Now, if people run off the battlefield, they will reappear on the campaign map. So armies can still survive, right? So the general, battles aren't necessarily about killing every single person on the battlefield. That almost never happens. Where are my cabs? I want you to hit these guys. Actually, so it's all about getting them to all run away. Battles are all about getting them to rout, because it's almost impossible to kill every single person on the battlefield. Sometimes you can, but it depends on the scenario. And I need to come get the gen. Yay, victory! So yeah, you can see I've won. You win either by getting everybody to run away or killing everybody, and it's usually everybody running away, which is what they're doing now. And I'm going to keep fighting just because I want to limit as many people as possible that might reappear on the campaign map. I want to get them down to as few numbers as possible so that I don't have to fight them again. Or at least if I do, that there won't be as many of them. That's fine. Alright, so he's gonna come and take out this. We're trying to get him. He probably won't die. That's his general, although he's pretty strong. And these guys are, yeah, that's fine. When there are low numbers like this, like 4, you can see right there are 4 people in this unit. That's such a low number that this unit is decimated. They won't come back.
Rexguard Knights!
Come on. I can speed this up. Yay. Alright, so he's going down. He's at 20. What is he at? 8. 3. Yeah, okay, so is there anyone else? 4. Nah, okay, let's just end it. Alright, so I have the option to save the replay, which is kind of cool, or we can just end the battle. So, decisive victory, so a lot of the game will tell you like how well you did. So decisive victory is like, hey, you did an excellent job. Like, you completely wiped, like, you did really, really well. There are things like close victory, meaning it could have gone either way. A Pyrrhic victory means, like, yeah, you won, but like they took out more of you than you did of them. And anyway, so that's just an indicator of like a summary of how you did. It's kind of cool. All right, in the battle. And then here are the stats. Right here, you can see how many I've lost. I lost 93, which isn't too bad. And they lost pretty much everybody. Oh yeah, they've got 15 guys remaining. Oh yeah, their army is pretty much gone. These skulls indicate how many people that they killed. So my cavalry killed 202 people, which is a lot. Yeah. Yay! And I got some gold out of that. And ooh, I got an item. Cool. And my general increased in rank, which is also cool. All right. So that's new in Total War games, is having that all that stuff pop up. You know, like being able to like get gold out of winning battles. That's kind of new. I think it's kind of cool. Getting those items. So each Total War game kind of, you know, they all play generally the same, but they have different focuses, I guess. You know, they have slight differences. In the Total War Warhammer games, they have a big emphasis on characters and your generals. So it kind of plays like a role-playing game in a sense, meaning like you can like equip different types of weapons on your generals or different armor, and things like this. So that's what that was. So you can see like, hey, he got the terrifying mask of E. So it gives me, you can see right there the attributes there. Anyway, that's all that was. And then I can increase, when I increase in rank, I get like a skill point, so I can assign. I'll show you later. I can assign him like a new skill. All right, so here is the aftermath. Yeah, I pretty much wiped him out. He's got 0 guys left, and it's just this general guy left over. And now at the bottom, you can see here I've got 3 options. I can pardon the captives. So you'll notice I captured 91 people. That is, after the battle is all said and done, there were 91 people left on the battlefield that I captured. And I can release them and get more gold, but I will get a negative effect in that my replenishment rate will decrease by 5%. My replenishment rate of my army. So units, as long as they're in friendly territory, they can replenish their troops. So when they're wounded like this, right? So he's at 93. Right, he's a little bit hurt, a little bit. He can replenish over time. Anyway, so that's indicating it's minus 5%, but that's just for one turn. It's not a big deal. The second option is to kill them all, and that will give me an increase in morale for the army. Or I can take them on, my own army. So I can take the people I captured and enlist them in my own army. And you can see there on the left, like as I hover over the button, you can see that's how far it will replenish. So I'm going to do that just because it basically replenishes my entire army, which is kind of nice because I'm going to need them. Because I'm in enemy territory, I won't be able to replenish, and I need these guys to continue on in enemy territory. So I'm going to select that. All right, yay! Mission successful. I did it. I accomplished it. So yay! I got 1,000 gold and I got some prestige. And yes, this is. I got that item. It's just telling me again. I got that item. Yay! Okay, now I have a new mission. So this one is capture and occupy the following settlement: Grunberg. And if I select this, it takes me right to it. Grunberg, right here. This is Grunberg. And my reward is 1,000 gold, and I will get some authority +1. Ooh. Okay. So, there's his army, which is just one guy. There he is. And then here is the city of Grunberg. Now you'll notice, here's my army. There's this little caret that indicates, hey, he leveled up. So if I select my army, you can see right there, there's the caret, or the chevron, or whatever you want to call it. I can come over here, and there it is again. And if I select this takes me to a skill tree. So I have 1 point. I can assign points to all these different skills. There's a lot of information. Too much. Basically, I've only got 1 of 3 available. I have these 3. The rest of these are all grayed out. I can't get them, so don't worry about them. This increases the defense of Call France, this character, by 5. And you can see the change there on the left. His stat goes up on the left there. You can see how it changes up from 45 to 50. So that's affects his character stats. This ability will affect his any battle effects. So this says character's aura leadership effect +5. So this basically increases that morale boost within that blue circle of his on the battle map. And then down here, this is any campaign effects. So this guy is, hey, he gets a movement range of an additional 10%, so he can go a little further than most people. And I'm going to select that, because I like that. And then, of course, you can see here is like a summary of all his effects. You can, whatever, you don't have to look at that. And then you can come to details, and you can see this is just a summary of the details. So, like, for example, this is where you assign like armor and weapons and stuff. So, armor, he's got nothing. It's just his normal armor. He's got this weapon that gives him all those effects there in green. Talisman none. This enchanted item. This is what he got from that battle. This is what he won, and that was automatically assigned to him. If I wanted to, I can switch it out, but there's nothing to switch out to. And then you can assign different like followers. So like over the course of the game, he'll gain like more things, and you assign them here, and blah 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 blah. And anyway, this is just an info vomit, but it's useful when you get to know the game a little bit more. This becomes more familiar. But anyway, that's what that is. All right, so. You can see already, so now if you see, now that I have him selected, you can see there's that yellow border indicating as far as he can go. And you can see he can make it to Grunberg to attack. Now normally, you'll notice as I hover over Grunberg, there's that red circle. Armies and cities have these red circles. Here's his that army's red circle. These are called zone of control, meaning nobody can pass through that red circle unless you're going directly to the center of the circle to attack. So it's a good way to kind of like block people, or anyway, it's kind of nice. So in order to, so like for example, I can't just send him here. Like I can't, you see there's that red X on the cursor. I can't just put him in here. I have to, if I'm going to enter the circle, I have to attack. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to right click.
War calls.
All right, so then this is the battle summary again. Now, you didn't see an army in the city, and that's because cities don't have armies. You can put an army in the city, but cities will automatically have a garrison, and that's what this is indicating right here. This is its garrison. Settlement garrison, and every city has a garrison. And that garrison is dependent upon what types of buildings are in the city and all that. And then you can see here is a reinforcing army, which is that leftover guy that I fought recently. And the reason why he's reinforcing is because he is close enough to the vicinity where I'm fighting that he can come into the battle and help out. So that's what that's indicating. And then we've got this similar options at the bottom. We can fight the battle manually ourselves. We can auto-resolve the battle, which is totally a viable option because we completely outnumber them. Like, we are a lot more powerful than they are in this battle. We can break the siege, essentially withdraw from the battle or retreat from it. Or if we wanted to, we could encircle, meaning we can just stick around indefinitely. And you'll notice these numbers here indicate the number of turns it will take before they take attrition or surrender the city. So if I were to just encircle,
Raise your
click encircle,
weapons.
basically just my army will besiege this city, which kind of freezes the city, so to speak. Like, they can't recruit anybody out of it. They can't. I think trade gets disabled essentially through this city, and I can just keep him there, and I can end my turn, and he will just stay there. Now they could, if they wanted to, if it were once it's the enemy's turn, they could sally forth and attack me, if they wanted to. But
Into battle.
so these numbers indicate, right? So it's 6 turns. If I besiege them for 6 turns, then after 6 turns, their army will start to diminish due to attrition. And if I hold it for 11 turns, then the city will just automatically surrender itself to me without having to fight a battle. I typically find that's a long time. I typically fight the battle, so we're just going to fight the battle. If we look at the map, we can see it's just a general battle map. Normally in Total War games, you would actually fight in the city. You would like, the city would be right here, and you would come into the city and fight it. Excuse me. But for whatever reason, this game, they don't do that, except for walled cities. If the city has like a wall, if it's like a capital city of like a province, I'll show you later, then you would be fighting like into the city with like walls and towers and all that. But for whatever reason, like small towns like this one, they're just like normal battle maps. So we're just gonna fight it again. And they don't have any ranged units, which is nice. So I own them on range, which is cool. And yeah, they got 2 swords and 3 spears. So I'll just make sure that I try to avoid the spears with my cav. So you can see here, so they're going to start somewhere here. I can't see them because, so there's a mechanic, a line of sight mechanic. So there's a hill right here, so these guys can't see over the hill. And then also trees, you can't see like through forests and things, which is kind of nice. So if you want to, like, we could be sneaky, and we can like put, like, I can put my cav like, I don't know, like right here, for example. You'll notice this icon indicates hidden. He is hidden in the trees, so they will not be able to see me unless they get up like right up close to me, which is kind of cool because then you can hide units and you can have them come out at strategic times to fight and stuff. So that's kind of cool. We're not going to do that, at least for this battle. And then you can see his reinforcements are going to come off of this side right here. Now, if it were like a larger army, I would be more worried about this, given that he would have an army here and an army here, and they could pincer me. But given that I know that it's just one guy, I'm not terribly worried. In fact, if I really wanted to, I could probably just like take my guys, line them up like this, and then the second the battle starts, I just rush them and kill them. But I'm not gonna do that because I don't really want to. And I know that also because this is I'm fighting for control of a city. If they lose, they all die. So like, I don't even have, if I win the battle without even touching this guy, they'll all just die because you can't retreat from. Although actually, I think because he's reinforcing, he may still be able to retreat on the campaign map. I'm not sure, but at least this army, if I were to win this army and they start running away, I don't need to chase after them because they all will just die due to the fact that I'm besieging their city. So, alright, enough talking. I talk a lot, I know, but I like it. Let's see. I guess we can just do what we did last time. We'll do this. We'll stick him at the front. We'll have you. We won't make that same mistake of having you being behind anybody. And we'll just have to be conscious of the fact that he's exposed. But then we'll have you right here. Now I think if he starts to approach me, it might be best to just come back here instead, so I have more room to shoot at. But if he's not, then I don't know. We'll see. And I'll have you guys, I don't know, come here. In fact, let's do this. Let's have you like that, and then we'll have the handgunners. Yeah, that's good. Actually, let's do this. Do that, and then do this. This, and yeah, that's good. Alright, start. Alright, we can see, and they are approaching me, yay! And his guy, we can't see. You can see on the mini-map up here, all this black means we can't see. This is our line of sight. So, I can't see him, but he's making his way probably, and whatever. I'm not worried about him. If he gets too close, I may send him, or I don't know.
Missiles at the ready.
All right, I'm going to put my front lines. I'm going to put them on guard mode. What this does is it makes sure that they hold their ground. So this is useful if they start running away. Typically, if I don't have this toggled, then my units will just start chasing after them. And I don't want them to do that just because it gets messy, and especially if I'm dealing with lots more numbers, I really want to be organized, and so I use this as a way of saying, hey, don't move. I need you to be organized. I don't want you to run around willy-nilly. Alright, you get those guys, and you attack those guys. I'm going to group you again. And these are spears. I'm going to... Alright, let's wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Stand your ground, men! Alright. Charge into them. You get in there. You just keep firing away. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. They're already at half strength. And then we're going to swerve around. There's a cool ability. Check this out. I'm just going to have them do that. But sometimes that gets weird. So don't do that. I don't know why they start going in a line like that. But anyway, that's a lot of times that does work if you just wait. Use his ability again. That is fine. You can keep firing. You want to do that. Cav, get out of there and charge these guys. Oh, and here's their enemy general. But again, I'm not too worried. Just because, I don't know, he's already tired, he's winded, he's shaken already, he's losing his morale. Alright, you hold your fire. You can keep firing, that's fine. He's pretty much won. Once he routs, then it's over. Alright. Yay, we did it!
Send us out!
Now, again, like I said, I can just end the battle now. These guys will not reappear on the campaign map, but units gain experience. Your army will gain experience as you fight. And it's typically based on the number of kills and then the type of people they kill. And so what I want to do is I want to see if I can't gain more experience. So if I, you'll see here, right, his XP, he's close to gaining a rank. So he's already at rank 1 with that chevron. And it's indicated right here, that chevron. And if I just keep fighting, I could get him over to rank 2. See, and you can see the number of kills here, right there. And you go after them now. And just so I guess I'll talk about this now. You may find this boring, but so this is the unit card right here. This indicates like this is the unit. This is my cavalry unit. These are his statistics right here and everything, and his health, his hit points. Basically, like here is his general. Like the general category of unit, he is a shock cavalry. Basically, he's just a cavalry. Shock just means he's really good at hammering into an enemy, but he's not very good at prolonged combat. So he's good at like charging in and then coming back out, charging back in, coming back out. And then everything in green is just kind of like a summary of kind of his traits. So he's armored and shielded. Shielded just means they have shields that block arrows better. So he's a little more protected from arrows. And anti-infantry just means he's really good against infantry. And armor just means people have a hard time hitting him, like with their swords. Unless the enemy unit has an ability called armor piercing, which means it would kind of counteract this armored ability. You can see this is the number of... Go after those. Yeah, the experience isn't really going up all that much, but... you can see, so that's here's number of people in the unit, number of people, and then this is the max number of people in the unit. Number of kills in the current battle is experience. This is the total number of hit points per person. So that's all that is. So sometimes you'll notice like the green bar over here is like at half strength, but he'll still have like most of his units, and that just means that the hit points of the people in the units is lessened, but he still has number of people. Anyway, whatever. Here's his armor rating, his leadership or his morale rating. This is how fast his speed statistic, his melee attack, and this indicates. What I love about this game too is that like you can highlight over stuff and it just explains everything very neatly and succinctly and very clearly. Melee attack is just the chance that he has to hit the enemy opponent when he swings his sword. The melee defense is his ability to it determines the chance at being hit by the enemy. His weapon strength is when he gets a hit. This is how strong of an attack it will be, and then he has a charge bonus. Every unit has a charge bonus. That's something that I haven't explained. If I were to just select my cav and just right click on this unit, then he'll just go and attack the unit. If I were to double right click on it, he will run to the unit and he will initiate a charge into the unit. And what a charge does is it essentially it like boosts his attack. Maybe I can probably show you in a different battle like what that looks like. He basically like charges into the unit and it like boosts his melee attack and his melee attack and his melee defense, I think, and it lasts for like the first like 10 seconds of contact. There's this boost that they get when you charge into someone. So that's all that is, charge bonus. Anyway, all right, let's just end it. I'm talking a lot. Battle. So yeah, I lost 33. Now, if I had auto-resolved it, this number could have been maybe less, maybe more. I don't know. I like to think that if I fight it manually, I do better than what the computer would have determined if I auto-resolved it. So that's why I like to auto-resolve most battles. Yay, I don't get a lot of gold probably because it's not very... Yay, I get a banner! And I've increased in rank again, yay! Okay, so that banner, it's cool. So that banner, you can see in green, it says increase speed of increased 15%. What I can do is I can assign this to someone. I can assign it to my halberdiers, and now my halberdiers will have an increased speed rating, which just makes them faster. So that's all a banner does. You can kind of assign it to whoever. I'm going to assign it to my cav. Come on. I'm going to assign it to my cav just because speedy cavalry is a good thing. So yeah, I think that general still survived. I probably should have chased after him. Okay, so when you've captured a settlement, you have options. You can occupy the city, which is your kind of your basic option. And then these are the effects if I were to choose this. So I would have a -10 public order for 1 turn. And I would have -3 public order that diminishes over time. And I'll explain public order in a little bit. But basically public order, you want it to be high. If it gets too low, then rebellions happen, and that's bad. I can loot and occupy, which I get some money. I can replenish my troops more quickly, but I get a -30 public order and a -10 public order that diminishes over time. I can sack it, which means I don't occupy it. I would just sack it for its gold, replenish some troops. Their public order would go down, but I wouldn't occupy it. I would just kind of walk away. The enemy would still own the city. Or I can completely raze it to the ground, which means nobody owns it. It completely gets destroyed. Everything is gone. And the only way to get the city back is to send an army out to kind of recolonize the city, and that costs money and manpower and all that. We're just gonna occupy it. Yay! So, okay, so I've gained a follower. Followers again are you can assign them to individual characters or like your generals to grant bonuses. So right now this guy isn't assigned to anybody. He's just kind of in my pool of followers that I can assign later on. But this guy gives me an increased research rate. Yay, that's cool. All right. So mission successful. Yay, we captured the city of Grunberg. Woohoo! And we get more gold, and we get that authority.
Your burgeoning realm grows, Your Eminence, yet many evils still abound in this world. The Empire remains divided, and marauding greenskins still threaten your lands. Further afield, there are rumors of a dark force rising in the east, spreading the taint of undeath. You must remain vigilant.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. So now a quest has been issued. So each faction leader has like a quest line that they can follow. It's actually kind of cool. I used to think this was kind of like gimmicky when I first heard about it, but I actually think it's pretty cool. So I can send this guy called Franz to complete a quest battle. And if I were to click on it, it's indicated right here by this blue circle indicator thing. And so I can send him over here, or I can teleport him. And sometimes quests happen like clear on the other side of the map, and like no way do I want to walk all the way over there. So you can have this like teleport button, but you pay money to like fast travel there essentially. Anyway, so I fight this battle, and then I get a benefit. I can get looks like a new sword, and I can get a battle wizard, which I think are pretty cool, and more prestige. And you can see here's the army that I would fight. These guys. So that's what that is. Again, it's purely optional. Oh, hey, he did die. That general did die. Okay, so that's good to know. All right, so that's good to know. And then objective issued. So occupy, loot, raise, or sack 4 different settlements. And I will get 2,000 gold. Thank you. And then, and then I gained a follower that automatically was assigned to my general. Recruit rank of +1. So anytime I recruit infantry into my army, he will automatically gain an experience rank of 1 instead of 0. So that's nice. And then the banner gain, which we already saw, there's that speed. Okay. Yay! So we had that chevron again. So we're going to select my general. We're going to come here. And this time, I'll just select the increase his morale bonus to his army in the vicinity. I will select that. And if I go to details, you can see there's that follower gain, there's that +1 to rank of infantry, and there's that banner as well that was assigned, that I assigned to my cavalry, which is down here. I assigned it down there. Cool. Okay, so now you can see at the bottom here, you can see these plus symbols indicate that they are replenishing. And you can see, you can kind of barely see the yellow right there, indicates that in the next turn, that's how much more replenished he will be, which in this case, full replenishment. And you can even see how many turns it will take. So like troops replenished per turn is 16, and it will take 1 turn to be completely full. And you can see, you know, this army is in a friendly province. Yay! So that's what that is. You're probably looking at like, what is all this stuff on the right? This is just like an info. Like when you play, it's kind of like when you play Civilization. Like after every turn, just stuff pops up indicating, you know, hey, here's like here's the stuff that I gained, which we already saw, but it's just relisted here. And here's the battle reports. I won both these battles, and so on and so forth. And after every turn, you know, this will repopulate with different things that have happened. It's just there to, it's just as a reference point. I can put it away. I don't need to see it. Okay, so on the upper right hand corner, you can see here's a little mini map of the world. I currently own this red portion. If I zoom out, here's all these other factions. You can zoom out all the way to the whole world. You can see here's the whole world that I'm fighting in, or that I'm in. So that's there, and here's just a bunch of info. It's just your reference. So there's that list of events. Here is a list of my armies. I currently only have 1, and that's how many people are in that army. Here is a list of provinces. So here's my province, is Reichland. And here are all the other provinces that I know of, that I'm aware of in the world. They're all listed here, and you can see how much money they make, and who owns them, and all that. And then here is a list of all the factions that I know. You can see here, the Sursun Empire Secessionists. I am currently at war with them, and they do not like me, indicated by the red face right there. And then a list of all the other people that I can talk to and negotiate in diplomacy and trade and all that. So that's all this is. It's just they're just there as references. Okay, so now something else we can talk about. I know this video's gone on for like an hour. I'm going to end it pretty soon. I'm just going to go over just a few more things. So if we were to select, so I currently now own 2 regions. I own Altdorf and I own Grunberg, indicated by these 2 towns. Altdorf being my faction capital. Now, something of note. If I select Altdorf, here is an overview of the province. And here is the province of Reichland. The regions of Altdorf and Grunberg are within the province of Reichland. The other 2 regions in the province being Eilhart, which I can select over here, controlled by the Empire Secessionists, as well as Überschreik indicated right there. So this is older Total War games don't have this mechanic. I actually really like this mechanic, that regions, that provinces are divided up into separate regions. This is a newer feature as of a few years ago. But essentially what it does is any building that you build in a region will affect the entire province. You can almost think of like a province as like one giant city, and you have all these buildings within the giant city, but they're all kind of divided up into these separate regions. Anyway, I'm probably over-explaining it, but anyway, that's what that is. So you can see I own Altdorf and Grunberg. You can see the buildings already that I currently have in these regions. The lock indicates I can't build anything here yet before I have to upgrade the town in order to increase the capacity of buildings, and eventually I can fill up all of these slots when I max out the city level. Province capitals, indicated by the first one on the left, obviously are bigger. They can house more buildings, and then any additional regions house less buildings. Province capitals, indicated here, has walls. So this is what I was talking about with the whole like walled settlements versus unwalled settlements. So the Battle of Grunberg was just a normal battlefield battle. However, if I were to fight an Altdorf battle, I'd be fighting like for the city, in the city, with walls and things. Yeah, so you can see I currently have an Imperial Wharf, which you can see on the left there, at the top there. It's essentially a port, and it grants me 200 gold per turn, and it grants me growth, plus 10 growth per turn. And then I have a training field, which is basically just like a barracks. So it allows me to recruit spearmen and swordsmen, which are the basic units. And I can recruit, given that because this guy is within Reichland, anywhere in Reichland, so long as I'm in my own territory, I can recruit. So I don't need to be in Altdorf to recruit from this training field. I can be anywhere. I can be in Grunberg or anywhere on the field to recruit from this training field. And I'll show you what that looks like. And then in Grunberg, I have these grazing pastures, which gives me plus 30 growth, gives me casualty replenishment rate increase, which is useful, and then recruitment costs for pistoliers and outriders, a separate type of unit, it decreases by 20%. That's kind of nice. Now you can see here this little hammer indicates that I can upgrade the building. Yay, I can upgrade it. So if I were to hover over this, you'll see, so if I hover over the hamlet, the Altdorf hamlet, you can see on the left there, all the benefits that I gain from it. So I get 100 gold, I get public order plus 1 per turn, I get growth of plus 10 per turn, I get all that income increase, and then you can see provides a garrison. So this is what I was talking about. Each city has a garrison, and it depends on the buildings in the region. So Altdorf Hamlet provides a garrison of some crossbowmen, so like some cavalry, Empire Knights, great swords, spearmen, crossbowmen. You can see the numbers on the left, the number of units. So it's a pretty big garrison. Altdorf is a big city, so, and the game does a good job of saying, hey, like this is your capital, so like it's hard to like really die in this game, because if someone were to completely wipe you out, like to attack Altdorf, you have a big garrison to defend it. And then it unlocks automatically the spearman itself. So I don't need a training field to be able to recruit spearmen, given that I have this. Now I can upgrade it, and then you can see the upgrades, the difference right here. So instead of 100 gold, it's 150 gold per turn, and so on and so forth. I won't read all that. You can see it will take 3 turns to build. It will cost me 1,600 gold to make. The number on the left indicates the number of growth surplus that I need to build it. On the left side, you will see I have a population surplus of 1. which is exactly what I have. So we will go ahead and build it. Yay! Now you'll notice that when I did that, now I can no longer upgrade this hamlet to a village, and that's because it also needs a surplus of 1, but I spent it. So now I have a surplus of 0. And you can see turns until surplus point, 2 more turns until I will get an additional population surplus. And you can see the growth rate. So I get plus 63 growth till I get the max of 125, at which point I will get my population surplus. So that's what that growth mechanic is. So the more growth rate you get, the faster you can grow your cities, which means the more buildings you can put in your cities, allowing you to field better units and all that stuff. You can see here is the income of this province. I make 464 gold per turn, and you can see a summary right there listed, the wealth and income. That's just a brief summary of how I'm getting that gold within this province. So I get 409 from Altdorf, I get 55 from Grunberg, I get a tax of 105% tax, which gives me 464. Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, 442 times 1.05 is 464. Math. And then here's my public order. So you'll see I'm currently at 0 with a -8, and you can see a summary of why that is. And the biggest contributor to the negative is, you can see right there, there's that -10. That's because I had a conquest in this province of Grunberg. And you can notice it says next turn only, so that -10 next turn will go away. So this -8 will be a positive number next turn, in theory. And then at the very bottom you'll see that provincial instability -1 per turn. That's that -3 when I conquered Grunberg. That -3 will slowly diminish down to 0 over time. And then you can see I have a military presence. When I garrison an army within a city, I gain a boost in public order. And then you can, anyway, some buildings give you public order, and my character, so my general, he has some public order bonuses. So that's what that is. If I wanted to, you'll notice there's that taxes of -4. If I was in dire straits, I can uncheck this. I will no longer tax this province, therefore I get 0 gold, and then instead of -8, it is now -4. However, when I do that, you'll notice at the very top, so here is my current treasury, and then here is how much gold I make per turn. You'll notice as I check the box, right, I now make 1,800 per turn instead of whatever it was previously, 1,300. So there's that. This next thing is called corruption. So this game introduces a mechanic called corruption. So there are some evil races in this game that spread corruption. Currently we're at 100% untainted, meaning there is 0 corruption in this province, which is a good thing. Corruption introduces that the higher corruption in the land, the more negative public order is introduced, and then it also allows you can read that there on the left. There are 3 types of corruption: chaos, vampiric, and skaven. So any of those races, if there is corruption of that kind in the province, they get a benefit. So if they start fighting in provinces with high amounts of corruption, then they gain like replenishment rate increases and all that stuff. So we don't like that, because we are not playing as those types of races. And then you can see the province effects on the bottom. So because of my public order ranking being at 0, it's in between -25 and 25, I get some line of sight of my region. My region line of sight is increased a little bit. And then untainted. So because this essentially just gives attrition to any vampiric undead armies that are traveling through this territory. They will suffer from attrition. So their armies will dwindle as they move across the land, which is good. Something I failed to mention about public order, you'll notice at the very bottom it says, public order is deteriorating. At the current rate, there will be a rebellion in 13 turns. So when public order gets down to -100, then a rebellion ensues, and an army, a rebellious army, will pop up somewhere in my province, and they'll start attacking my cities. So that's bad. We do not want that. So that's all that is. Now, if I were to own all, I know I'm talking a lot. If I were to own all of these regions, and I get control of the entire province, then I get to issue a province commandment. Listed down here. You can't see it because I don't own the province, but essentially I get to grant an additional bonus, so like increased taxes or increase of growth for the whole province, which comes in handy. Let's see. So you'll notice on each of these cities, you'll notice these green circles. These green circles indicate the climate of the region. So certain races are climatized to certain climates. So this climate is of a temperate. This is a temperate climate, so it is a suitable climate for the humans. If this were like a mountain climate, I'll show you. So if I come up to this right here. This gives me just a general summary of my faction. You'll see right here climates. So my suitable climates are temperate, savanna, and desert. So I can settle these land. I can occupy these lands with no problem. However, if I were to settle a mountainous, magical forest, a jungle, or temperate island region, then I would get negative, like I wouldn't reap the benefits from those regions as much. I would get some negative penalty. I would get less gold income. I would get less public order. It would take me longer to build buildings and longer to recruit people. And then uninhabitable. So if I were to control these types of regions, being the wasteland, frozen, ocean, and chaotic wastelands, then I would suffer extreme negative penalties for occupying those types of lands. So that's all that means. I think it's a cool mechanic that certain types of land benefit certain types of races. Anyway, so that's just a general overview. Here's my diplomacy screen. I'm currently at war with Empire Secessionists, the Skull Smashers, which are like an orc tribe, and then the Beastmen, which are just they're like wandering armies. They don't settle anywhere. They just wander around and attack people. So yeah, that's all. And down here you can see my objectives. So to win the entire game, I have to control these lands. I won't go too much. I have to control these lands. I have to control these lands as well. Altdorf being one of them, hence the check mark. Or I should say 17 of these lands. And then I have to keep the Chaos Warriors at bay up in the north, which they currently are. So that's why they get a check. But over the course of the game, they will come down and slowly wreak havoc and corruption, and so I will have to push them back. And that's for a long campaign victory. I do that. For a short campaign victory, there's just less. I just have to control less. And then chapter objectives. So this is just that mission issued. This thing right here. Oh wait, no, that's a quest. Oh, I guess that's not listed. Sorry, that's not listed there. But this is completely optional. But like as you progress through the game, you'll get rewarded with gold. And then these right here are like, hey, if you like win 3 battles, you'll get 1,000 gold. If you win 3 battles by the end of your primary objective, and so on and so forth. Recruit a hero, get some gold. It's a great way for the game to kind of suggests things for you to do. Build a barracks, so it's just a nice it incentivizes you to kind of learn the game, if you will. I've disabled, so normally the game will have like a tutorial. I've disabled that because I'd rather just do it. There is diplomacy. We can engage in diplomacy, and we can start asking for like trade agreements. We can sort this by let's sort this by people who left me. So you can see here, like, hey, they're friendly towards me, and you can see why right there. There's a summary of why, and so on and so forth. I can say initiate diplomacy.
Welcome, my countrymen.
Let's do a trade agreement.
On it.
Yay! So now I will get some gold per turn. So you can see right here, I get 57 gold per turn from this trade agreement.
Kislev.
We can go to Kislev, which are like the Russians equivalent.
The Tsarina empowers me to offer you warm
Trade agreement, yay, and that's likelihood of success is high. So what I could do is I can demand for some money to sweeten the deal a little bit.
Kislev.
Nope, they didn't like that. All right, we'll just trade agreement high. Yay! And that's 60 gold per turn. Yay! So I won't bother, but you can go through all the different factions and do all kinds of diplomatic things, and like I can go to I don't know, Auckland, and come here and you can see there's a non-aggression pact that basically says, hey, like, I want to attack you if you won't attack me. You can have military access and all that. You can declare war on them if you wanted to. You'll notice on the left here, here's my reliability ranking, which is very high. This is useful if I were to backstab someone, if I were to sign a non-aggression pact with someone, and then just like completely, and just like out, excuse me, just like attack them, then my reliability will suffer greatly, and then other factions will be less likely to do deals with me. So that's really good to you know be able to keep this high. You want to, if you really want to go to war with someone who has a non-aggression pact, then you want to do it in an orderly fashion. So break the pact, and then you declare war. You know, kind of ease into the declaring war part. All right, so that's just diplomacy, very similar to like civilization and stuff. Here's my technology tree. So I can come in here, and you can see there's types of stuff I can research. So tithe rebates. So I get +5 growth and +2 public order per turn, always. And that will be take me 5 turns to research that. And then I can research, I get extra morale and speed for my infantry units, and so on and so forth. So we'll do that and move on. Excuse me. So it's indicated here 5 turns. And then these other two, so I can open up electoral machinations or whatever. So this is just a unique ability of the Empire race. I can spend my prestige. This is where that prestige comes in. At the top, here's my resource, my bank of prestige. I have 510. And I can spend that prestige if I wanted to increase or decrease relationships with other people. So if someone's not willing to like trade with me, then I can be like, all right, well, let's say like Middenland, right? They're a neutral towards me. If I wanted to, I can say, okay, well, I'm going to improve relations, and yay, I get plus 25 on that. So now you'll see there, I'm moving. You'll see there at the bottom it's 0, moving towards 56. I'm increasing at a quicker rate now because of our improved relations, and then hopefully like next turn or the turn after I can, they would accept a trade agreement, as an example, hypothetically. So that's what that is, and I can even do it between between Stirland and Midland. I can decrease relations between the two, so I can try and like poke the fire a little bit. No, this is only between human empire factions. So I'll show you this next tab. my elector counts. This is a unique ability, a unique mechanic of the Empire. So right here, this is the Empire. All of this land of the world, this is the Empire. And I currently am
Empire's blessings, yes.
the province of Reichland. I am the Elector Count. Emperor Karl Franz is the Elector Count of Reichland. And it grants him certain abilities. And all of these are all the individual Elector Counts within the Empire. They're not... again, think of this like the Holy Roman Empire, right? So it's like the Empire, but broken up into different states. Eventually, I want to be able to own all of this, but I can do it diplomatically, or I can do it by force. And each of these guys, so if I were to select like
Yes.
Talbot land, he has a fealty of 7, which means he is strongly, he supports me strongly. If I can get this up to 10, then he will offer to confederate with me. He will join the Empire straight up, and we will I will own his cities and own his armies essentially. And being able to own that grants him these abilities. Anyway, I think it's a kind of cool mechanic. You'll notice here, like here is part of the Empire, but it's owned by some undead people, and so he's not going to, you'll notice there is 0 fealty, and so I will have to most likely attack him and kill him, and then I can reinstate, you'll notice on here, candidates. My candidate pool is low, so I can assign my generals to these, to be an elector count of certain regions, or certain of these provinces, and gain these abilities. Anyway, I'm overcomplicating it, but I think it's I think it's kind of cool. It's just it's just kind of neat. So that's what that is. Now, one last thing before I go. I know it's long, but if I select my army,
Yes.
this is how I can recruit. So if I can't move anywhere because it's he's already moved his maximum movement points. You can see here, this bar would fill up, indicating any movement points he had left, but it's at 0, so it's an empty. Yeah, movement range of 0. But I can recruit. Here we go. Let's go to recruit, and I'm going. Here is the local pool of recruitment, meaning the local province I'm in, indicated by that rally field building in Altdorf. And then here's the global. So this is of all my provinces, I can recruit globally. Now, what that does, now it's the same because I only have the one province. But you'll notice that it's more expensive. You'll notice the number here. Here's 770 versus 400 locally. It's more expensive to recruit globally, and it takes longer to recruit globally. And this indicating it'll take 2 turns to recruit this guy, whereas here it will take 1 turn. Now, right here, this doesn't make sense why global exists. But if this army were, say, like out here somewhere, and he wasn't in this province, it very well may be useful to recruit globally because there may not be any local buildings to recruit from. So I would be forced to recruit globally. And you'll notice the number at the bottom indicates its upkeep cost. So per turn, this is how much money I will have to spend to keep these units alive, in my armies. So, and then these indicates I can recruit 3 units total. So I want 3 swordsmen. Boom, boom, boom. And then I can't recruit. Oh, I guess I could keep recruiting, but it would now take, it'll take more and more and more turns to recruit. Anyway. And I can recruit, I don't have to be garrisoned within Grunberg. I can be out in the field and recruit just like this, no problem. So that's that. That's recruitment, and so next turn I will get these 3 guys, yay! And I get that +1 chevron due to that my ability or whatever. And I think there's one other thing before I go. I guess. So then once I've ended my turn, I can come here and I can just select the end turn button, and it will go through everybody else's turn. And you can see that there are a lot of different factions and races that we go through. A lot. But fortunately, it's very quick. Yay! New quest issued. Establish a trade agreement with the following faction. Nordland. I will get 1,500. Yay, okay. So I can go ahead and pursue that. Okay, so then it's a new turn, and then I can say it's time to take Uber Strike, so I can send him now. One last thing, I know I'm talking a lot. If I move him out, like he's going to move towards Uber Strike. Armies have stances. Currently he is at no stance, but if I come over here, you'll see a list of types of stances. So right now I'm at stance none, but I could have a stance of march. This increases his movement range by 50%. This is very useful if I need to get across the map more quickly. You can see the difference there in that yellow border, right? So right now it's there, and then there it's extended. Now, however, I cannot initiate any battles when I do this. And if someone were to attack me at the end of my turn, like if I were to select this and then move, and then I'd end my turn, and if someone were to attack me, you'll notice there it says Vigor in battle is tired. That means that my units will be permanently tired on the battlefield, which is really bad because it makes my units fight significantly less efficiently. Or significantly less efficient. I also wouldn't be able to run away. I mean, there's all kinds of, you can see there's all kinds of side effects to that. I could be in a stance of ambush. What this does is it essentially hides my army in the bushes. And if an enemy army were to walk by, I have a chance to ambush them. What that does is it allows me to essentially surprise the army. So I would fight the battle, and then if you remember the deployment phase of the battle, there's like your army gets deployed in one half of the map and his army gets deployed in the other half of the map. However, if I were to ambush him, then I would deploy my army like pretty much right on top of him, like to their backs almost. So I can immediately just smash right into them from behind. And so it creates a huge disadvantage if you are ambushed. I can raid. So if I were in enemy territory, I could raid and I would generate income. It kind of like it's kind of like a way to help pay for the upkeep of the army. And you can see the side effects there. It decreases growth and decreases public order in that region, or in that province. I can go to encamp mode, which increases my defense and my morale. And this is very useful because you'll notice it also, if I'm behind enemy lines, normally I can't replenish. However, if I'm encamped, then I can replenish. I can also recruit behind enemy lines if I am in encamp stance. And I'm immune to any attrition. Sometimes if for example, if I were to take my army and travel them through the mountains, they suffer some attrition by going through mountains. Or if they appear in the north, if I have them travel through like the ice and snow, they'll suffer some attrition. If I put them in the encamp stance, they don't suffer any attrition, which is very useful. And then the last one is channeling. So I increase the pool of magic that a battle can have. I don't have any magical units yet, or like wizards or anything to show you, but you can cast spells on in battles, and you cast spells by spending like magic points, and so this essentially increases the points, the magic points essentially, so you can spend more points to cast more magic. That's all that is. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, I can recruit more armies. So if I came to Altdorf, I want to recruit Lord. I can come here and I can select any of these guys to recruit from. It'll cost me 975 initially, and their upkeep is 250. And you can see kind of additional bonuses they might have that I might find useful. So like bonus versus large, that's useful against like horses or monsters. Armor piercing damage of 35, and that's construction time decreases and income increases if he's within a province. That's kind of useful. So if I select a Gerhard Umberrecker, and then I can recruit, and he appears right here, and I can start recruiting. I can say, give me give me 2 swordsmen and a spearman, just like that. So that's how you recruit armies and stuff. But obviously that will decrease my upkeep costs and all that. And then authority, that +1 authority is just the more authority, as long as I have positive authority, then it grants me these buffs. If I have decreased authority, it grants me all these negative buffs. That's really bad. If I have authority of -10, then civil war ensues, and all of the elector counts will just attack me. That's bad. So we want to make sure that our authority is high, and we do this. You can see right here. This is how we can gain authority. So you can see +1 from the mission that we accomplished. We got +1 from that mission, and you can see all the various ways you can get more authority. Anyway, so that's the game. If you want, I'm more than happy to just play the game without having to explain a bajillion things. I know this is a super long video, but if you want, I can just post 30-minute videos here and there to as I just play the game to show you kind of how it plays. I think this game is so cool. Check this out. I mean, if I get rid of the UI. This map is just so cool. Here's where the undead are. Here's up in the mountains. You can fight up here. This is where all the dwarves and a lot of the orcs lives up here. You can come down here in the Badlands, and it gets all wastelandy, and deserts are over here, and yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool. The elves, they live right here on this crazy island right here, and the dark elves, their evil counterpart, live up here in these jagged mountains area. I don't know. It's just so cool. This map is so dramatic, and it's just dripping with atmosphere. It's just, I don't know. I love it. I just think it's so cool. There's forts. So these mountains right here. There's these. You can see right here Helmgart is this fort. It's a mountain fort. You don't build buildings. It's just a garrison thing you can have as a way to traverse. So it's a way to if you want to hold these mountains, from attack from this way. You can control these forts here. Here's another one right here. That's pretty cool. I don't know, bro. This is just a cool game. All right, I just like it. All right, back off, man. Just back off. It's cool. All right, man. All right. Well, anyway, I'm gonna end it. If you watched it this far, I apologize. This is way longer than I wanted to. I know I was just talking a lot, but I just love this game so much. I just think it's just so fun. Total War has always been one of my favorite strategy games, but Warhammer, it just makes it just more fun. There's just something about it that makes it fun. Okay, and with that, I will end it.